What's up, Caleb?
What's good?
Damn, you look good. Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh, he got too much hair.
It's stuck.
He got too much hair. Oh my god. That's a sexy man. Eric, what's good?
Team of the year.
Team of the year? There's only 10 teams.
Championship team of the year.
Yeah, alright. Miguel, how you feeling? What's good, brother?
Don't say that. He'll do it.
Mason, how much time do you have to pick? I think it's 2 minutes. We'll find out. I thought it was 2.5.
What's up, Mason?
I think I changed it to 2 seconds.
Or like 30 seconds.
That's good.
I'm like, yeah.
I just want to look around.
I'm actually trying to see what my options
Nick just he's chilling.
Yes, sir.
He's not even here for the draft. He don't give a fuck about any of this. Let's notice here. Noda pulled up late. Jack pulled up. We got Jack. We got our champion. Hold up. Look at my man. That's number one right there. That's number one. That's number one. Where's Cade? Okay, we got Cade. Hold up, we got Cade.
Getting that coffee ready, you know.
Look at Cade. Hold up. You got the wait. Show him the ring. Show him the ring.
Not all of them. Not all of them, but some of them. And then a watch.
I don't even know if it's focusing, but you know it's fine.
We good.
There you go.
I think CMC goes first, Caleb. So Caleb, Christian McCaffrey.
I really want Caleb to take Justin Jefferson to cause some mayhem, but he won't. He'll be too safe. He's going to take McCaffrey.
Let's see who's he taking. The 2023 GOAT League draft was one for the ages. There were tons of highlight moments to choose from, but the mixing of the first few picks set everything off.
I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew it!
As is the case every year, the heart of every transaction stems back to these decisions made on draft day.
Great pick.
Yep. Your mom's a great pick. Many expected Caleb, a devout 49ers fan, to draft Christian McCaffrey with the first overall pick in the draft. Instead, he opted to take Justin Jefferson and build around him instead.
Caleb, pretty boy. Overrated. Overrated for sure. A bitch. Caleb getting last this year.
Cool guy, but he kind of sucks at trading. He always gives more than what he needs to. Caleb, just take a page out of Cade's book. Just finesse people, man. If you want to win, don't be nice, man. Take their shit, bro. The fantasy football season is a long one, lasting potentially the entire 18-week NFL regular season. 4.5 months of maintaining and improving your team or teams if you're in multiple leagues. With fantasy games being decided by a point difference of single digits, and playoff races being decided by one more win or one more loss. It is vital to make the most of every week in fantasy if you want to make a playoff run. This is why losing one of your most valuable players to injury can be so devastating.
No JJ, handful of games, IR, 4 games minimum. Well, let's just get this out of the way initially. That sucks. And here's why. Because he's awesome. And he changes so many things in games. And I love Justin Jefferson, the player and the person, so it sucks because I feel really bad for him.
I just remember, I remember like immediately, like Breece Hall finally had his game back. Like he just needed to get a few weeks rest, and then he had a nice matchup, and I was like, all right, Breece Hall's back. I have him on. I have Jalen Hurts pushing his way into victories, and I have the number 1 overall pick. All right, my running back 2 kind of sucks, but I can start winning with this team. And then he got hurt, and I was like, are you kidding me? My team is finally starting to make the turnaround. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't. I did bitch and moan about it for a long time before doing anything about it. But eventually I was like, all right, well, I have to do something about this. And then I just started shooting offers to everyone, trying to see what I can get. Because Alexei had such a surplus, I was like, well, maybe he can afford to give me one of his wide receiver 1 since he had so many. And then he would be getting literally the number 1 overall pick, so he could afford to wait, and he was winning.
Caleb,
wanted to trade Justin Jefferson for Keenan Allen, and I love that trade. People hated it because they thought that Alexei was getting a super good steal. But I told Caleb, like, that's fucking great because, like, it's going to get out there that he's going to be injured. Nobody's going to want him. And then I realized Cade's in the league.
And I think that also set Cade off. So Cade was like, let me send you a better offer.
Caleb ultimately traded Justin Jefferson to Cade for a haul of Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka Nacua, and Jalen Waddle. According to the GOAT League scoring settings of full PPR, Gibbs would finish as the 10th best running back in fantasy for the season. Nacua would finish as the 4th best wide receiver, and Waddle would finish as the 34th best wide receiver. Jefferson, after getting hurt in Week 5 and not returning until Week 14, would finish as the 33rd best receiver. It will go down as one of the most one-sided trades in GOAT League history.
What? I forgot that. What? That's... Dude, I forgot about this season. God damn, that was a trade. I was okay with it because Caleb's team wasn't looking, like, amazing. So I understood, like, you know what, get rid of my best piece and get all these people and hopefully they can help.
I don't think Kay should have done the trade. It should have been like one of the top 3 people in the league that should have done the trade. Because Kay was already like in the middle or towards the bottom. At that point, he shouldn't have done it. And it just boosted Caleb's team a lot.
If you are trading away like your really good players for a star player who may come back for playoffs, unless you're like confident in the rest of your team to carry you there without that star player, it doesn't really make sense because you're basically fighting for your life every single week since you're just waiting for this one guy to come back who may not even come back.
Cade's whole reason why he took the 2nd pick of the draft was he wanted Justin Jefferson. He faded McCaffrey because he wanted Justin Jefferson. I mean, he literally, because he just, no matter what, wasn't going to get McCaffrey. And Cade's whole draft plan was because he wasn't going to draft McCaffrey, he was going to get Gibbs and Montgomery. And my confusion was, why are you trading Gibbs, who was your whole plan in the draft? It's like, because I feel like he could have done the same trade with Caleb, and Caleb would have said yes if he did Montgomery instead.
So I remember at the time, Alexei was the top dog, okay? So, like, if you just go back, Alexei was the guy, and they were considering a trade. It was Keenan Allen and someone else. It was 2 players for Justin Jefferson. And Alexei already had a stacked team. And we all thought at the time, looking at it, we were like, now Alexei is going to win the league. Like, that was, like, the guy that would seal the deal for him. So at the time, we all thought, like, fuck, he'll like. And by the way, Caleb at that time was at a very, very low point where he was like, I need to make a move. Looking at it, like, from that perspective, I remember being in the car on the way home from, I want to say it was like a Los Angeles trip with Nick. I didn't even have my phone, but I had seen from the text Nick was showing me that they were about to do that trade. I was like, there's no way I can let Alexei get this trade off. So I told Nick, I was like, send him this, this, and this for that player, and he'll definitely accept that over the Alexei trade.
If there was any downfall of Cade, that was that.
With the power of hindsight, some trades like these can look extremely one-sided. However, funnily enough, everyone's interpretations of trades and who won is a little bit different. Here's an example. Eric traded Alvin Kamara and Garrett Wilson to Brendan for Devon Achane and Michael Pittman Jr. Now, let's see how each person felt about the trade.
Yeah, so I fleeced Brendan, which is awesome.
I feel like I won that trade. I honestly feel like I won that trade because A-Chain, everybody wanted him in the beginning of that one game, and they were just like meat riding him. So for him to go that high for just A-Chain in general, I feel like I won that trade.
Got A-Chain in that trade. He was hurt at the time, so I took a risk on it. Just hopefully he would still do good. And he did. He did solid, which I'm happy about. So basically, thank you, Brendan. Appreciate it.
I'll let them keep debating on who won. But for Brendan, he got around with his trades last year, also trading a number of times with Miguel. In week 4, Brendan traded Saquon Barkley, Chris Olave, and Elijah Moore for Hollywood Brown, Amari Cooper, and Michael Pittman, who would later be included in that Devon Achane trade.
I don't really know what was going through my head, man. I'll be honest with you. Miguel is a really good salesperson, and he was really selling me the dream for a second. Now going with it, I was like, yeah, man, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
I was getting a RB1 and a wide receiver 1. and I was giving away 2 wide receiver 2s and a wide receiver 3. So on paper, it was good. In retrospect, not great. Mari Cooper turned up the heat, and Michael Pittman turned up the heat. Marquise Brown was consistent, especially early on.
These two freaks just couldn't keep their hands off each other as Miguel traded back for Hollywood Brown, giving up Tyler Boyd and Miles Sanders for some reason, somehow. As you can see, not all trades are equally important, but trader's remorse is a common thing that builds up over time. Alexei traded young running back Isaiah Pacheco and veteran wide receiver Adam Thielen for running back Aaron Jones, who would ultimately struggle to stay consistent due to injuries.
Oh,
Jack.
dude, that trade. Oh my god. I wish it had worked out, but it just, oh my god, it was so annoying. We've seen over the years, like, Aaron Jones has been a good running back. Injury just didn't pan out. He kept getting injured, and he needs another week, and then he comes back and he like re-injures it, and it's just like a ongoing dilemma.
With all of this trade and draft talk, you may be wondering where everyone stood on the standings after all of the movement settled. Also, just so you know, the tiebreaker for tied records in the standings is total points scored on the season. So if you're wondering how teams with the same record are ranked, that's how. The more points you have, the higher up in the rankings you go. Here's where the league stood after week 10. With 6 games left until playoffs started. The first seed was held by Eric at 7-2, with his team led by Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson, and DK Metcalf. The second seed was held by Noda and his aforementioned Bills stack of Josh Allen and Steph Diggs at 6-3. The third seed was held by Jack at 5-4, who drafted Travis Kelce 5th overall. Also at 5-4 was Miguel in the 4th seed, the cutoff for who makes the playoffs. His first 3 picks of Austin Eckler, AJ Brown, and Patrick Mahomes all faced their own struggles throughout the fantasy season. Just outside the playoffs, as the 5th seed at 4-5 sat Caleb, whose team underwent a massive transformation, but still retained star 2nd and 3rd rounders Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jalen Hurts respectively. Oh, and who could forget Jerome Ford? Brendan, also at 4-5, stood in the 6th seed, still relying on Derrick Henry and Mark Andrews amongst the other players he acquired through trades. The 7th seed, also 4-5, was Cade. Mid-season fab additions of CJ Stroud and Tank Dell gave Cade a boost while Justin Jefferson sat out with injury. At this point in the season, I sat in the 8th seed as the 4th player at 4-5. Still led by a Burrow Chase stack up to this point, the team was in need of more production from 2nd round pick Tony Pollard, who seemed to be the only Cowboy player that didn't score many touchdowns last year. More on that later. Surprisingly, Alexei sat in the 9th seed on a 6-game losing streak, leaving him at 3-6. His team had good, albeit sometimes frustrating players. Led by a Tua Tyreek stack, also having Keenan Allen and Devontae Adams in a full PPR league like this one meant tons of high scoring, usually, but a couple unlucky weeks against opponents or dud weeks from one of the wide receivers left Alexei near the bottom of the standings. In the last place 10th seed, also at 3-6, was Mason. Mason has a reputation for either being a strong contender or near the bottom of the league, and this year was no exception. So that's how things looked going into week 10 of last year's season. As you already know, I've mentioned before that I'm due for a punishment, meaning that I ultimately finished in last. I would ask any other person that finished in last what went wrong during the season, so it's only right I tell everyone else what happened last year.
Alright guys, it's the middle of the night. It's 3 I'll just show you the time. Hold on. 3 yeah, so it's late. Hold on, let me okay, so I got the camera balancing on top of some of the spare cans I had in my room. Last year, things, obviously didn't go my way. This is as much as I will say about it. Around the time right after the draft last year, something came up in my life. I was dealing with something with another person I cared very deeply about, and that situation took priority in my life, and it kind of changed my perspective on things. It was like what's fantasy if compared to like if this situation doesn't go to plan, you know? So it was just like if fantasy has to take a backseat to whatever I have to do to resolve this situation, then so be it. So that's what happened. I was dead set on fixing that situation, that I just couldn't put in as much effort into fantasy as I wanted. But yeah, I did what I could. I didn't want to let the boys down. I didn't want to give up, because it takes the fun out of it for everyone else. So, and you know, I was making a bunch of YouTube videos about fantasy. I was doing an insane amount of research for fantasy. So then when everything got, you know, I used everything I had on the draft, really. And so when that situation came up, it was just like, all right, well, I did a lot for fantasy already, like, but I don't want anyone to think I'm making excuses or anything. I fully deserve getting last because I didn't put in as much effort. I wasn't as attentive as I could have been. So I own that I got last. It's just unfortunate the way things, the way things went down. Long story short, I don't regret anything I did. I still tried last year, never gave up. I did my best, but obviously my best wasn't enough. If I do the punishment, I'm still open to it. We can figure that out. But regardless, just want everyone to have fun. Just want to be here with everybody. So, I think that's all I have to say. I hope I haven't forgotten anything important that I wanted to say. It is late, but cheers to a good season.
He's gonna be wide open and then Anthony Richardson is about to get the
Everyone else has their own goals for next year, aspirations, desires to achieve that will drive their fantasy experience.
Well, I hope I get the best Charger player.
Who's that?
Herbert.
Okay.
And hopefully I get first.
Just getting back to being one of the top teams or being looked at as a top contender. It's been feels like a long time, probably like 3-4 years where I've been considered a top 3 team.
Championship. It's the only way. I mean, it's like if you ain't first, you're last. Like like there's no other way to put it.
I hope it stays close. This year was actually kind of close. I like close games. I find that the games that I have most fun with are obviously the ones I win, but not the ones where I win by like 100, but the games that I win by like 5 or 10. I think that's the most fun, and that's when the most shit talking happens afterwards.
I mean, I want to win finally, dude. I can't have Caleb keep disrespecting me. He keeps fucking saying like, so how does it feel thinking you're better than us but not having your name on the trophy? I'm no enemies, bro. No enemies. Never mind.
That's for next year, but it still gives insight on what motivates the guys to play fantasy and how they derive pleasure from it all. For this past year, however, the goal for the people at this point in the standings was to avoid last or to make the playoffs. Mathematically, there were multiple teams that still had a chance to make the playoffs even into the final weeks of the regular season. Every year, only 4 teams make the playoffs in this league. And still, every year, only one team wins it all and gets their name engraved on the league trophy, a level of prestige that has only been known by 4 people in the last 6 years. Whether people desire to be acknowledged as skilled or are content with being labeled lucky, this is the one and only chance in the season for people to earn the title of champion.